So it's quite common for developers to use XML documents in web applications. And XML documents are generally used to store configuration data or to transfer data from a source to a destination. So most of the programming languages are able to edit or create XML documents. But there is a standard query language for XML documents. Its name is XPath. So XPath stands for XML Path Language. XPath uses path-like syntax to query XML documents, and like SQL, it will provide specificity for certain attributes to find them and then the patterns to match. So it helps to identify and navigate nodes in an XML document. Now, XPath differs from other database languages as there is no access controls or user authentication. For instance, an attacker can inject XPath statements in some input fields. And if there's no control of the back end, then it is also possible to access the entire XML document. So in this lesson, we're going to cover XPath attack. So open Kali and log into BWAP. We're going to do both. So choose the first one from the menu above. It is a login form. Just write something and log in. Okay, so we get an error. And now, just enter a single quote and then log in. Okay, so this is not what we expected, right? Normally we're going to see SQL errors, but an XML error appears on the top of the page. Now, obviously it's different, and the data transmits over the URL. So let's have a look at the code. Open XMLI_1.php. Now, the developer puts their security checks based on the security level. Okay, so we're going to look into this function later. But now scroll down, and this is the part that we're looking for. See here on line 75, the developer loads an XML file. Then they check the login and password in an XPath query on line 78. And then, based on the result of this query, it shows the message, or prints invalid credentials error. Okay, so exit this. And we can view the external functions file. So scroll to find an XML injection function. Oh, found it. And it replaces characters that can be used in an XPath query with a white space character. Okay, so exit. Then let's open Sublime Text. Now, before we go any further, I do want to show you the XPath query execution. Okay, so open the Tools menu, install package control. Okay, so it's installed, and now click OK. And go to Preferences, click on Package Control, then click Install Package. And now you're going to see Sublime packages or extensions. So to execute XPath queries, we're going to need an extension. So type XPath and just click on the first one. And now it will be installed in the background. Okay, so now load the heroes.xml file. Okay, then hit Control-Shift-P, type query, and select the first one. So now let me zoom it in for you. So this extension helps us to execute XPath queries on a document. So, okay, I'm going to paste the query and the code to here. And the code is like that. And it contains PHP code as well. So let me just clean them up. So this is the actual XPath query. The logic is almost the same as SQL queries. So the query just means that under the heroes root element, choose a hero which has a specific login and password. All right, so now type Neo and then Trinity. And now look above, the first hero element is chosen. So the login mechanism in this form works like that on this XML file. So now we can delete these values and put in a single quote. It breaks the query and nothing appears. And now type or 1 equals 1 or a single quote. Then all the hero elements are chosen. So I'm going to copy this payload and go back to Firefox, paste it into this field and log in. And there it goes. It works. So, all right. Actually, we can only see what is in the first line or, well, the first element of the result. Okay, so now you can see the code and you can prepare your XPath payloads. But let me tell you, in a real-world pen test, it's not really like that. After you see the XML error, you need to try more for exploiting. Open your perspective a little bit. So this was our payload. Change 1 to 2 and go. And we get an error. So this means that our payload executes well. So now it's time to pull the data. And we can view the first hero in the list. And then by adding this code, we can view an other. And it's the same user. This time type 2. Second user is Alice. Who's the third one? Thor. Who's the fourth one? Wolverine. Who's the fifth one? Johnny. Sixth, Celine. Seventh one. Okay, and because there is no other user, we get this error. So anyway, I'm going to give you some payload so that you can go further. So to get the number of the root elements, write this one, and we'll get the result. So it means that there is one root element. And because there is only one root element, the rest will work like that. So to get the number of elements in the file, write this one. No, it's not 1. Yes, it is 43. Then to get the number of child elements under the heroes element, write this one. Sure enough, there are 6 children under heroes. And to get the length of the name of the current node and root node, type this payload. And the length is not 1. Is it 6? Yeah, because it is heroes. So now, to get the name of the root element one by one, type this payload. First character is not A, so try H. Yeah, the first character is H. Now you can follow along the same way to get the other characters. Okay, so to get the length of the name of the first child under the root element, type this payload. And no, it is not 1. So is it 4? It sure is. Okay, so now to get the name of the first child under the root element one by one, type this payload. It is not A. Is it H? And yes, it is. All right, so if we follow along this way, we can extract the name of the first child under the root element. Okay, so now to get the number of children of the first child under the root element, type this payload. Is it more than 1 child? So is it 6? Okay, so the first child has 6 children. So now, let's get the length of the name of the first of the 6. Type in this payload. No, it's not 1. Is it 2? Why, yes, it is. Okay, so get the name of them one by one. Type in this payload. The first character is not A, so let's change it to Y. And yeah, I. So I assume we discovered one by one. Then type this to get the length of the text of this child. The length of it text is 1. Okay, so is this text 1? And yeah, the text is 1. Okay, so I think you get the point, right? So step by step, we discover the root element, the elements, as well as the children. So if it is necessary, you can discover the attributes and the others as well. But then finally, I want to show you that we will be able to pull data from the XML file. So why don't we go ahead and do another example. So from the menu above, choose the second one. It selects movies based on their genre. So you may not see this raw message on the page. I enabled it from the code so that I could show you how XPath finds the values. So don't freak out. But just open the terminal, view XMLI_2.php, scroll down to below, and here's the XPath query. So it chooses the child element movie from the hero elements, which has a specific genre element. Okay? Yeah, I know my sentence, it's a little bit long and weird, but it's really what it is, and what it is what it is. Anyway, the remaining part prints the output to the screen in a table. So why don't we go back to Sublime and paste a query here. Now I'm going to clear the PHP syntax. And this is the actual XPath query. And the movies immediately appear. Now, if I were to clear here from the URL, I can see all the movies. Okay, so go to Sublime again. Now add a single quote here, and nothing appears because it breaks the syntax. So now I'm going to add this. Okay, so I think there is no syntax error now, and we'll add something here. Okay, perfect. The result appears. That's what we're looking for. So now I'm going to copy this payload and paste it into the URL. And it works. Okay, so let's go back to Sublime, and I'm going to add a few things. And this time, it will bring all the data into the XML file. So I'll copy this payload and paste it in the URL, and then go. And what do you see? We can view all the text data in the table. All right, so that wraps it up for XML injection or XPath injection. So you can do whatever you want to at this stage. You can go further, try several other payloads. You can see what works, see what doesn't work. That, my friends, is up to you.